So, chapter 1018 just released, and without reading the chapter, I just want to say, just from the start, that as a Jinbei fan, I have been thriving. Jinbei got a really great chapter last chapter, the new episode of the anime, which had Jinbei show up to Onigashima. I thought that was a really great episode of the anime, and the hype for the raid on Onigashima has just been really insane. So I'm glad Jinbei got a standout moment, just like the Luffy Law Kid scene and the Kyoshiro scene earlier. I thought it was really cool that Jinbei was getting a really fleshed out action scene, because he's never really got that in the entirety of the series, even though he's been around for like hundreds and hundreds of chapters. I think it's also really neat that he's fighting a member of CP9, which was this kind of bonding moment with the crew, with retrieving Robin and Frankie joining the crew. The only other Straw Hat that hasn't done that is Brook, and if Brook does it, that would be really cool, which would kind of have every single member of the Straw Hats fight a member of Cypher Pole. But I'm going to put that to the side for now when the video actually begins, and I just wanted to say, if you do enjoy this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and there will be a channel update at the end of this video, because unfortunately I'm not going to be able to put out as much content as I usually do for the next 2 weeks because of some family business, and hopefully I'll be able to get some videos out. I'm going to try and record quite a bit in the few days I have left here. So besides that, hope you enjoy the video. This chapter once again continues from the last, and it's literally called Jinbei vs. Who's Who, which had me very intrigued from the start, because Jinbei is a GOAT. And I wanted to address this at the start because I know many people aren't a big fan of Jinbei. Many say he's overrated, but for me, I remember when I was watching through the series the first time, when he first appeared, I had this like fascination with his character because he was just such a Chad consistently. It was kind of insane. I literally said in the voice calls when I would watch it, miss once, just miss a single time. Thinking back on it, I wish I could have recorded some of those moments because they were really funny, and experiencing them again would be pretty fun. I wanted to say this from the start because I feel as though having a positive opinion of Jinbei and just being a big fan of him is definitely the reason I like this chapter so much. So just wanted to get that out of the way before people are like, why do you like this chapter so much? It's because I really like Jinbei. The chapter, however, does not start with Jinbei immediately. We actually get a recap on many of the other things that are going on, specifically how Tama is holding up with the chaos going on that she specifically has caused. We get a catch up to see that not only are the headliners kind of betraying Kaido, but we see many of the normal forces are also either following their lead and kind of allowing themselves to be like, yeah, Kaido and Queen kind of suck. I assume these people were the ones that were getting poisoned by Queen specifically, so that's why I mentioned that. We also see that Nami is now actually a fan of Zeus, and Zeus is now inspired to actually do more and more damage on Nami's behalf. So we get to see that Tama and Nami specifically have been doing a lot of damage in the battle. During all this, we are getting information from Bao Huang and some of the Marys that the forces are changing sides, and we get another look back at the Cypher Pole Go board, and we see that the Samurai forces are now at 9,000 and the Beast Pirates are at 16,000. So it's in a lot of differences, but the Samurai are really catching up thanks to Tama. Now, in this section, all the members of Cypher Pole have in fact returned to the room. I assumed that the other two members that I mentioned last chapter would not be there because they would be on the hunt for someone specifically. I assumed Big Mom, but now with the reveal of who's who, it's possible that they want him dead, and we get a confirmation with that exactly, because they say the victor of this is no consequence to us. We just need to confirm his death. This is more specifically confirmed by the end of this section, where we are saying he's fighting Jinbei after all. So Cypher Pole is indeed talking about who's who and the possible knowledge he could leak to the Straw Hats or Kaido. Now, the rest of this chapter is just pure Jinbei versus Who's Who fights, and if you don't like Jinbei, and you really don't like Who's Who, because he's still a relatively new character, I can understand this being an absolute slog to get through, but for me, I thought it was really interesting because of how different their fighting styles are, and because I feel like the choreography is really cool, because we haven't seen a lot of these techniques for a really long time, so personally, I really enjoyed it. And there's a lot of really neat information divulged from Who's Who talking to Jinbei. The first of these was the actual reveal that Shanks stole the Gomu Gomu no Mi directly from Cypher Pole. So it's not some kind of meandering like, oh, someone else stole it and Shanks stole it from them, showing he's working for the government. No, this was a direct attack on the government. However, we don't know why exactly he did so. The next thing shows Who's Who attacking at Jinbei and showing that his attacks, his Fang pistol techniques, are actually breaking through the floor and attacking many of Kaido's forces right underneath on the 3rd floor. I thought that was really neat and essentially unnecessary, but I thought it was really cool and shows that many other of Kaido's forces could switch sides at any moment because they feel they are unnecessary. Jinbei dodges all of these attacks, and Who's Who says it's lucky that you dodged them or else you'd be eaten alive, and then refers to Jinbei in very derogatory ways against fishmen. And I thought that was actually quite a neat detail because Who's Who, being a member of Cypher Pole, assumedly, since he was a child, was raised by the Celestial Dragons just like Lucci, and as a result, his point of view of the world is just from their point of view. So he sees fishmen as a lesser being, just as they do. Oda uses this opportunity to have Who's Who discuss another topic he wanted to with Jinbei, which is a bit tragic that Oda had to go the literal racism route, but I mean, it makes sense for his character, and this allows for Who's Who to get into this really interesting topic that I think has a lot to do with what Skypiea has set up. Who's Who talks about this figure that the slaves of the past would worship in order to ensure their freedom or believe in something besides the dread of their current situation, and this figure is known as the sun god Nika. Personally, I was very confused at this from the start, but I realized we actually have heard of this figure just a very long time ago. The first time this person was ever mentioned was actually during the flashback in Skypiea, which takes place 400 years ago with Calgara and Noland. I was originally planning on talking about this concept a lot more in this video, but actually it got so long that I decided to split it off into its own video, which we'll be releasing later on. But back to the mention of this character himself, Who's Who uses this mention to get along the lines of Fisher Tiger and the Sun Pirates, which I thought was really cool because this character was actually the reveal of how Fisher Tiger thought of the name Sun Pirates. And I always thought that was really cool because Fisher Tiger, I feel, is a very underrated character in the One Piece world, and the fan base, yeah, they give him credit, but I feel like they don't put the respect on his name that he deserves. He makes these bold claims about Jinbei, saying that he must know something, obviously, because of the fishmen's history of slavery. So he just assumes that Jinbei would know about the sun god figure and possibly anything about them. We also learn that Who's Who actually did not break out through the help of Blackbeard, which I assumed he broke out during that, and he was possibly the 10th member of his crew. However, ever since this entire Cypher Pole reveal, that thought has been really lowering in my head, and this basically confirms he's not related to Blackbeard whatsoever, because Who's Who somehow broke out on his own. This moment from Jinbei following is just such a sick moment, in my opinion, because it really is really poignant of his growth and everything he's been through in the story so far, especially from his flashback with Fisher Tiger. We get to see how adamant he is about his beliefs and how he's tired of people like Who's Who are able to just throw out garbage about Jinbei's culture and assume they know so much about them, when in fact they really know nothing at all. He is furious with Who's Who and actually pulls out a really cool attack, which is referred to as the ultimate Fishman karate technique, known as the Gargoyle Tile Fist, and he just eviscerates Who's Who, most likely taking him down for the rest of the battle, meaning that the only Tobi-Roppo we have left are Black Maria and Sasaki. So we'll probably focus on Robin, Brook, and Frankie coming up as well. Before ending the chapter, I want to talk about the line that Jinbei said during his final attack on Who's Who, because I felt it was a really great way to end the chapter, and a really great line for his character. Jinbei says, "If you're going to make broad statements about other people's history, you'd better not be half-assed about it." And I felt this was a really great line that I just wanted to highlight because I felt like it was a great chapter ender type of line that also was really good for Jinbei's character, as I said previously. As a Jinbei fan, I really enjoyed this chapter, but I'm not going to put my bias into it. Well, I will, obviously. I'm not going to say this chapter's trash because Jinbei's in it. Obviously, it was really enjoyable. I thought the choreography for the fighting was really cool. I know I didn't talk about it that intricately, but I thought there were other more interesting things I wanted to focus on. But the choreography for the fights were really cool, and I feel Oda hasn't done a chapter like this in enough depth of action since the Marco versus King chapter, which I think was chapter 1005, but I'm not entirely sure. This chapter was really action focused, which means I won't give it as high of a score because there weren't as many crazy reveals, but there were some really good stuff, like Shanks being the one who stole the Gomu Gomu no Mi, the reveal of this new sun god figure, well, not really new, the reveal of this figure in this world though, and I don't know, I thought those two details were really fascinating and elevated this from being just a pure action chapter. Because of this, I am going to give the chapter a 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10. That's what I'm feeling right now. I really enjoyed the action. Again, fan of Jinbei, so you do got that bias in me because Jinbei, he's just a legend. For me. For me. Again, this is my channel. It's for me. And there were a lot of cool reveals, so I'm not really against this chapter at all. I feel like I would have been against it if it was just pure action. I'm not gonna lie. But it was really enjoyable overall for me. And for a quick update about what the channel is going to be going through for just a bit is I'm going on vacation. I'm now fully vaccinated, so I'm going to be seeing a bunch of family members that I haven't seen for a while, and I think it would be really good to focus time on like actually interacting with these family members, you know. And so I'm not going to be uploading as much. I'm still going to be trying to put out a few videos a week, but just know I'm not going to be able to literally grind as much as I have been. Also, the house that we're staying at, I actually don't know the internet access really, so that is a completely different issue that I'll run into when I run into it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to do the YouTube spiel, like, comment, and subscribe. Personally, my goal is to possibly hit 200 subscribers by the end of July because there was such a vast increase in the first month of my YouTube. I think it's possible to possibly replicate that success in this month with the, hopefully, quality content. I'm just trying to self-manifest, you know? And with that, hope you enjoyed the video, and have a good one.